What is up, everybody? Welcome on into another stream, another show. It is Friday, January 10th. And oh man, we've got a loaded show. It's like a loaded baked potato. Or some loaded fries. Or a loaded something that gets loaded. We're packed full today. So much news to go over, man. We got some juicy stuff in the world of Star Wars. Big old scoop by Jeff Snyder. Baylon Skull has been recast. I want to get into it, get into the details, see how you guys are feeling about it. Very cool. I like it. I like the casting, and I'll get into why a little bit more when we talk about that. We've got massive updates regarding the World War Hulk movie, which I think now is very likely the secret Hulk movie that's shooting at the end of this year. We're going to get into it. We'll talk about the full details. Part of that is in an article on the World of Real, and then part of it comes from some comments made earlier this week by Cryptic HD. So we're going to get into all of that and even more Spider-Man's news. And like, dude, at this point I can't tell if this is just the most insane, ridiculous goddamn movie we've ever covered, or if, you know, Marvel Studios is just trolling us and they're throwing every freaking rumor that could possibly be in there with regards to this film. We're gonna break it down though, because, you know, I was listening to Hot Mic podcast last night. You know, this is a scoop that came from John Roca. He says it's one of his best sources. So I'm gonna take John at his word. I think that this is real. This is something he's heard. The only way it makes sense to me is if it's about the Maestro Hulk, and we'll get into that, because all of a sudden you might have Maestro Hulk, or rather a Hulk in the Spider-Man movie. You might have Hulk in a World War Hulk movie. World War Hulk shooting at the end of this year. Maybe it's a Battle World movie. This is pointing to Hulk being a super big freaking deal for this whole time period of the Multiverse Saga and how that ends. So we will get into that as well, ladies and gentlemen. There is also a little bit of some other news, like Jeff sort of clarified some stuff about the T'Challa recasting last night on the podcast. We can talk about that a bit. I think we were spot on in our analysis from Wednesday about it. You know, Jeff has really good sources. Jeff is just not super nerdy, so he might not understand some of the lingo or some of the possibilities that are out there. So I still don't know if we know exactly what's going on with that. But, you know, Jeff claims that he was told it's not the kid, and that it's not the kid. So that's good. Hey, I would be excited about that. You know what I mean? If it's not the kid, if it's the actual T'Challa, I would be into that. I would be excited about that. So lots to get into today, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want to say, look, I apologize about no stream yesterday. Just got a lot going on, and then of course, look, I can't speak too much about it, but we do have like another weird issue going on the back end of the channel. Somebody essentially trying to take the channel down. I can't really speak too much about it. We're gonna try to solve that hopefully today, maybe in the next couple of days. If it gets really, really bad, I'll let you guys know which corner of the city I will be in my cardboard box and begging for change. So we'll figure that out, and I'll let you guys know how it all goes down. But I did want to say I appreciate all the support yesterday. I appreciate all the kind words, and thank you. Most of you were really cool about it. There were a few people that weren't so cool about it, and they're dead to me. But most of you guys were really cool about it, so I appreciate it, and thank you very much. Before we get into any of the news, any of that crazy stuff, what's going on with you guys? How's the week been? Friday, you made it through another week. How are you? How are things going for you out there in this crazy world? Do a Nerdventure stream tonight. I'm not gonna do a Nerdventure stream tonight. I also can't. I can't really get into the details, you know. Unfortunately, I can't get into the details. So, Nerdventures assemble. Yeah, I mean, look, I think we're gonna be fine. I think we're gonna figure it out. It's obviously a frustrating situation, and I think, you know, one of the things that's like wild, right, is like YouTube's already a really hard job. Like, it's already really hard to like figure out how to make good content, how to, you know, put that content out there, build your brand, you know, build a community, all these other things. I think it's already really difficult. An issue that a lot of YouTubers face, and maybe you've seen Eckhart Ladder's had to deal with some of the stuff. He's been pretty public about it. I know a lot of channels in our space have had to deal with this. I've had to deal with stuff similar in the past. And frankly, it's a shame. I think that when you're successful on YouTube, that comes with a target on your back in some ways. And, you know, unfortunately, because of the way some of these systems are built, it does kind of put you on the back foot a bit. So, you know, look, we're going to figure it out. Either way, we will move forward. Either way, we're going to figure out the next steps. But yeah, it is weird. We're going through like a weird, difficult season, if you will. But it is what it is. I don't whine and complain too much about my job. I have a very privileged life in this position, and you know, everything we've done has kind of set up, you know, a dream life. Things are not always smooth. When they get rough, it's really a test of your character. It's a test of your mental faculties. It's a test, you know. And so, you know, when things get tough, how do you respond? That says a lot about you, and that is, I think, ultimately the biggest determining factor in prolonged success. People can stumble into success. People can get lucky. Life is always going to find a way to throw curveballs at you. How you respond to those curveballs is a super big deal. So I appreciate all the patience, the support, the kind words, etc. Thank you so much. And Fanjaxer says Rival stream too. You know, I thought about maybe if there wasn't so much news, to be completely honest with you, if there wasn't so much news, I might have just been streaming Rivals right now. You know, like baby Athena's just over a week old. You know, it's been a little crazy, a little lack of sleep, a lot going on the business end. I got a lot going on. Okay, probably too much. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, probably too much. And I was like, yo, man, it would be chill just to kick it and play some Rivals with y'all today. But alas, the show must go on. Maybe we'll do some Rivals tonight. Maybe we'll do some Rivals over the weekend. But also, I can't promise anything because I've got a lot going on. You know what I mean? But when does that season drop? Is it dropped today, right? Season 1? Shirtless Rivals stream. Okay, wait, calm it down. I actually do need a haircut. I have a haircut appointment tomorrow. Yeah, Fantastic Four all the way, baby. What would Lionel Johnson do? He would be smug and fuck shit up. And I think that's a pretty good, you still need to get 120 more wins. I think I'm over 100 wins. I think I need to get about 100 or 80 more or something like that. Yeah, today, but what time? What time does it drop? 1 a.m. it dropped? Oh, really? Because I saw some posts of people like, let me in, and they weren't in. Maybe that's from last night, huh? How's Liam been with the new kid? He's doing good. It's always, you know, an adjustment. It's an adjustment for everybody, and I think he's adjusted well. I've spent a lot of extra time with him over this week. His mother's tried to really spend a lot of extra time with him. We just want to make sure that he feels like loved and he's good. The other thing that's wild about this is Liam's getting into that phase where he is like, bro, he is just wild as shit. 2 major head bonks yesterday. He's just going wild, slamming his head into things, testing his limits, you know? He's getting little baby surges of testosterone, and he's going wild. So that's been a little bit of a challenge to deal with. You know, we had a couple scares yesterday, but such is life. And again, it's all about how you handle the adversity. That's what makes the difference. Let me catch up on just a couple of chats. We'll hang out a little bit more, and then we'll get into the news. Cantina Talk says, EO, the $2 haul. Appreciate you, man. Javier Mendez, thank you for the diamond. Jon Snow says, reading Lion, Son of the Forest. Oh, it's so good. I've been thinking about rereading that book, actually. I really, really like that book. Warhammer's Peak. Appreciate you in the community. Oh, hell yeah. There'll be a part. I think the last video I did on Warhammer Explained actually talks about the returning Primarchs. I could be wrong, because I know we were working on that video. I can't remember if we actually released it. There's a moment in that book where the lion has a vision of the Emperor, and it's kind of like he's in the warp and he's literally having a vision with his father, and his father's like getting frustrated because the lion can't figure out what he's trying to tell him. But luckily, all of the Warhammer nerds dug deep on it and tried to figure out what he was trying to say. And it hints to other Primarchs returning, which I think is really cool. So make sure when that part happens in the book, it'll take place in a castle within a vision. Make sure you pay extra attention to that part. Mr. Falcon says, here's $10 so you can get the Sue Storm skin today, buddy. All jokes aside, man, hope you and the fam are doing well. Also have over 100 ranked wins with the Scarlet Witch if you want to get carried. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'm trying to get carried. Also, you just sent $20. So that's not $10, but I appreciate it. Zach says, I got your back, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, no, you guys, dude, you guys are awesome, supportive. Appreciate it. We're going to be fine, man. We'll figure it out. It's nothing you guys should worry about. My son bashed his head into a corner and had to get 7 stitches. Ugh. Yeah, dude, they, I don't know what it is. They tend to find a place to put that thick noggin, you know? They're trying to test how crazy they can go. And they don't really know their limits. And it's like, it's pretty scary, you know? It can be scary for parents. You also have to let them kind of get out there and get banged up a little bit. It's a tough balance. They have to learn. They have to learn their body. But you don't want them to get seriously hurt either, so. Yeah. The Maker skin is dope. It is dope, man. It is dope. I can't believe how... You know, can we just, for just a second, can we talk about Rivals? So, man, Rivals, crazy. I mean, this thing is blown up even further than what I thought it would. It's a massive game right now. A lot of streamers have switched. A lot of COD streamers have switched. The amount of players that it has on Steam is incredible. I think it's retained 93% of its initial players a month out, which is wild. That's really unheard of. A lot of games blew up in 2024. Like you had Pal World, Hell Divers, Space Marine 2, and they pop up and then they die down, right? It's pretty simple, you know, pretty normal thing. Rivals has done something kind of crazy. Like, you know, it really deserves... I think that the devs, the team, everybody deserves a lot of credit. The other thing that's wild, and I guess I didn't fully appreciate how this could happen. I think Marvel Rivals is so popular, it's bringing people to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I can say anecdotally that I have seen, because I watch a lot of content about Rivals, right? And I've seen a lot of creators literally say, like, I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Like, I watched this movie here a little bit. I've watched this show, but this is making me want to get back into it. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I guess it's not that crazy. It's hard for me as somebody that makes a living off of like covering Marvel, and I'm like I'm so about Marvel. It's wild, right? It's probably equally as weird that there are people like me that are that into it. It's hard for me to like imagine like not being into it, but then liking Marvel Rivals so much that you want to go watch more content with those characters and within that universe. Wow, what a W. And, you know, I mean, it's this game was published through Marvel Games, which was something was created a couple of years back where, you know, they have Marvel Animation, Marvel Studios, Marvel Games. Feige is CCO, overseeing everything that goes through that office, through all of those branches. I'm not saying that Feige was super involved here, but I do think he was involved in some regard. And it's just cool to see the thing pop off the way that it is. It's cool, man. You know, and I'm excited to see what the life of that game continues to be. Does it continue to be a entry point for more Marvel fans? This kind of happened with Space Marine 2 as well, right? Like Space Marine 2 came out. It was so popular. And I don't think it was even close to as popular as Rivals has become, but it was so popular that you saw a massive influx into the Warhammer community. I know this because I had a video pop off that stood kind of dormant until Space Marine 2 came out. And then it started to pop off, right? So it's wild. Topless Jim streams, please. Well, I don't want to do that. If my current issues don't get resolved and all of my YouTube channels go away, maybe we'll start the OnlyFans and we'll do full-on topless or nude workouts. I'm not sure, okay? I'd have to talk about it with my team. I got to talk about my team. We have options on the table. But for now, no. We're not going to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Why couldn't they do that with the Avengers game a few years back? Well, because that game's terrible, and I also think that game was developed before there was sort of that consolidation of Marvel gaming. Man, I'll tell you, is Ryan in here? Is the Nerd Executive in here? Can't go topless at Planet Fitness. They'd probably let me do it. So if Ryan's in here, I wonder if he remembers this. In 2019, we rolled up to the Avengers game booth. There were a couple of different game people we talked to. I talked to some developers for a mobile game, which I was kind of hyped on for a while, but it just became a grind and died. And then we talked to the devs of the Avengers game. And I'm telling you right now, right after I talked to those devs in 2019 for the Avengers game, I immediately knew that game was going to be a disaster. And I remember saying that to a lot of y'all. I remember because there were people in the community that were excited for the game, and I was like, yo, don't get your hopes up. Like, trust me, this is going to be a goobly glob. And ultimately, that game had so many different problems. It was so fractured. Certain modes didn't even work together and got dropped. So it's sad what happened to that Avengers game, but if you were close to it, like if you had sort of followed the development or had a chance to talk to those developers, like, bro, you knew that shit was going to be whack. Really whack. Yeah. So either way, the main point is massive W, Marvel Rivals, and a huge W for Marvel as well. So I didn't really have that on my radar as being a super impactful thing. I enjoyed the game. Even the trailer I thought was cool. I played both of the tests. I was super high on the game. I haven't had a lot of chance to play it this week. I'm going to be real. We've been really busy, but huge W for the game, for sure. The Avengers game broke me, but Rivals brought me back. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Rivals came in at the perfect time when Apex and COD are at its lowest and Overwatch is shit. That's true. You can't deny that. It's never been a better time to jump into the market with a real solid game. Also, it seems like the devs care. Yeah, I mean, so again, I don't want to turn this into a total rival stream, right? But I would argue, I mean, this game, it feels similar to like Elden Ring a little bit. It feels similar to Larian Studios that made Baldur's Gate 3, which is like sometimes you look at what certain game companies do, developers, publishers, etc., and you're like, this is so much better than what like everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? And it's just weird. Like, how does that happen? Like, why does that happen? And I think part of it happens because of the true passion and a true vision. I mean, Rivals, every single character, maybe except a few, are so well designed. Like, their kits just on their own are so fun. The gameplay loops that are involved in, like, this cooldown, but then you can use this ability to reduce the cooldown, or like every character is fun and engaging to play with. They also feel really close to the source material. Like, it feels good to be able to do something. Like Doctor Strange, for instance, and I don't even really play Strange. I've tried him a little bit. What an engaging and interesting character that feels on the battlefield like you would feel as Doctor Strange being in the battlefield. You would have things that other characters wouldn't have. You'd be able to withstand so much. Like, dude, I'm telling you, it's great. And the other thing, and a lot of people have said this, I'm not the first to say this, but Rivals has the perfect IP, the perfect catalog. Marvel has an unlimited roster of characters. There's so many characters that they could pull from, develop. It is like limitless. And because of how well established the lore is, they have precedence for how to build the kits. It's not like they're going to have to like ask, grab, or pull, with Overwatch, maybe there's a little bit of this kit. With the Valorant, maybe it's a little League of Legends and you have source material, etc. But like with Marvel, right? Like if they build Cable, they already know. They're like, okay, so he uses guns, he uses some time slides, he uses kinetic or telepathic abilities, like boom, Cable. Do you know what I mean? Like Gambit, right? Kinetic energy, throwing cards, really athletic, was a thief, has some stealth abilities. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, holy brother. I think we're probably going to get years of great character builds and content for Marvel Rivals. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So does DC. That's true. It's just a shame that, like, we haven't had a great DC game in a long time, bro. I mean, the Suicide Squad, that's not it. The Arkham games, probably the last great DC games. I actually like the DC universe, like that multi MMO game. I played that a little bit. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's the only thing I could say is it probably just falls from Warner Brothers a little bit. Marvel Studios, of course, not a flawless studio. They've had blemishes over the past couple of years, but by and large, maybe the most successful studio in Hollywood right now, maybe one of the biggest. They just seem to be able to figure out how to get their shit together better than a lot of the other studios. Like, you can't deny that. Even if you think Marvel has fallen off, which it has, you can't deny that they are operating at a level that these other studios are not. I mean, we're about to talk about Star Wars. You know, you're bringing up DC. It's kind of in shambles, like, frankly, a lot of the stuff that's going on there. So DC's great, though. I love the DC characters. Like, if you have not played the Injustice games, oh, bro, Injustice 1 and Injustice 2, like, incredible story, really well-built kits. You feel like the characters, like, that had a lot of love, those games, right? So, yeah. It's kind of interesting how that happens. Sam Shills with a 10 spot says, have you read the Warhammer books Dante or Space Wolves Omnibus? They are two really great books that show how becoming Space Marines in the Blood Angels and Space Wolf chapters. No, I have not. I mean, I want to expand a lot on my Warhammer lore knowledge for sure. I actually was trying to read Horus Rising because that's what Matt from Nerd of the Rings is currently going through. I tried to, like, get my Audible account on my new phone, but it's asking me for, like, a Google pin, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what this Google pin is, so I can't even get Audible on my phone. Why can't shit just work, brother? You know what I mean? It's these interdimensional elves, man. It's these weird-ass entities that come in, mess up the streams, do this, that, second, and the third, and just always try to throw you off. All I want to do is listen to this goddamn audiobook. So to answer your question, no, I haven't, but I would like to. Mr. Poppy says, hey, yo, Poppy's back in the tower. Happy New Year to the best chat on YouTube. Wait, best chat? Don't give him too much credit now. Josh, between Cap 4 Thunderbolts in 2025, the year of the Hulk, Nerd Advantage for life. Yeah, brother, we're going to get into that. I mean, it really seems like Hulk's got a big old task, man. He's going to have a big old year, and then in 2026, he's going to have an even bigger year. And I think a lot of this is probably going to be connected to the Maestro Hulk, which is like, come on, man. Like, oh my fucking God. Like, we're making nerdy dreams come true. You know, it's no longer like, well, I think the Kate Bishop Hawkeye show could potentially be cool. No, we're doing Maestro Hulk for, like, maybe multiple movies. Like, come on, man. Nate Kenobi says, hey, Josh, just saying Happy New Year and praying for your issue is favorably resolved soon. No need to read live. No, it's all good, brother. I appreciate it. Look, I think there are a lot of people out there that want us to win. I think there are a lot of people that are rooting for me, rooting for the channel, and I really appreciate that. Any energy, any kind of positivity that you put out there towards me, my family, or my endeavors, I greatly appreciate it. I'm the kind of person that believes that stuff has some kind of an effect. It does something. Unfortunately, there are also a lot of people out there that want me to lose, that don't like me, and want, you know, me to be destitute and potentially my family as well. That's real. The way I look at it is you just have to be strong yourself, and you just have to try to attract as many people that want you to win and be positive. It's almost like this sort of weird esoteric battle that's being fought over destructive energy versus creative energy, the light side and the dark, right? And all that I can do is try to, like, put my own focused and positive energy out there and try to attract and cultivate a group that is going to put that good stuff towards me and towards that kind of stuff. So, you know, send your Genki to us, like friggin' all the people in Dragon Ball that built the big spirit bomb that took out Kid Buu. We're going to need it. Appreciate you, though. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What's going on over on Twitch? Are you a Marvel Rivals player, Josh? Yeah, no, I'm pretty much the best one. VM says, yeah, he is, but he's very good. Maybe top 500. I'm not sure. Thanks, VM. I really appreciate that. Gosh dang mother trucker. Why would people be hating on you? What can they gain? I don't know why people do what they do exactly. I think that it's fairly easy, though, to fall into the trap of like negativity versus positivity, hate versus love. I don't know that I fully understand it, but even myself, like I can fall into those traps too. And, you know, recalibrating towards like love or source energy or, you know, whatever you want to call it, being at a higher vibration is not always easy. The way to it is love and gratitude, right? You just got to be grateful. You got to like fill your mind and your body with positive and good information and vibes. So I don't really fully understand it, man. It is what it is. Scott says with a $10 holla, says, don't throw supers too often, but here's the positive energy. Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. You know, money's a funny thing because, you know, there's different ways to look at it. And you could say that it's just, you know, some exchange rate of value or this, that, second, and the third. But I think that, you know, what's so interesting is I think one of the best determining factors on how your life goes is what you spend your money on. And I'm not saying like Warhammer, even though that's been very good for me. I mean in the sense that how you deliver via the medium of money, what you get out of things or how you are rewarded is very meaningful. So I'm a big fan of trying to give back to institutions. I'm a big fan of trying to lift other people up. I'm a big fan of trying to create experiences rather than things, you know? So I really appreciate it, man. I think how you spend your dough is cool. Justin says, calm down. He's still silver. Kick. Ah! You don't say that. Josh, have you seen the recent Luffy Reed comparisons? Hell yeah, dude. They're weird, and I love them. I mean, he is a lot like Luffy. Here's the thing. We got to get into the news. You guys got me on one today, man. I'm rambling like a motherfucker. We're up here yapping like crazy. It's the goddamn yappening up here. But I'm so excited to play Rivals now that Hela and Hawkeye have been nerfed. Oh my God. As an Iron Man player, I see Hawkeye, I see friggin' Hela, and I have to like immediately play the game in a completely different way or switch to a different character. And I hate it. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a lot easier for Iron Man players out there, but I am also really worried about Reed Richards, man. I think I'm going to go from getting hit with like spikes and arrows to literally getting slapped up by this big old rubber arm motherfucker. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. You don't watch One Piece? I do watch One Piece. I haven't watched the whole thing. I think we're on like episodes 200 to 300. We got through the Alabasta arc. We got through that weird little mini arc with the Marines after they get out of the Sky Island. But it's been a while since we picked it back up. And then I love the live action show. So I'm a huge fan of the live action show. The live action show is actually what got me to start the anime. I'm kind of thinking about waiting for the new remake of One Piece because the Netflix, like, dude, remastering that shit and putting it on Netflix is that seems really cool, dude. Like, I'm excited for that shit. Dirt Wizard, appreciate you, man. With the $20 holla, says congrats on your new baby grill. I mean, I've got a baby girl. I didn't get a new grill though. I have a son and a daughter also. It's an awesome combo. You guys will love it. Here's some coffee money for you and Elisa. Take my money. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. His reach isn't that good. Is that so? What's the reach? I think it looks like 25, 30 meters to me. Too much. Josh I says, hey, Papa Josh, just wanted to send you some good vibes, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys right back. I appreciate you guys right back. Should we get into the news, ladies and gentlemen? Should we get into this juicy, spicy, crazy news? What do you think? Is it time? Is it time? So let's start with this one. This is massive freaking news. This came out from Jeff Snyder yesterday on his newsletter, and then he talked a bit about it on the Hot Mic podcast last night with John Roca. Absolutely loaded show last night. I feel like Roca and Snyder have been on fire lately, and I just want to give them props. I think they're doing a great job. The news is Rory McCain will replace Ray Stevenson's role of Baylon Skull in Ahsoka Season 2. The Hound becomes Baylon. Now, couple of things here. Jeff said that this is a thing. This is an exclusive. This is an exclusive that he reported. He said he held this for a week, meaning he heard about it last week. He is, but by making it an exclusive, he's basically saying it's real. Many people have corroborated this. This is real. Okay, so we're going to talk about some stuff later that he's reporting as rumor, you know, and then the T'Challa stuff's a rumor, and we're like, what the hell does that mean? This one, we can be pretty sure this is real. Okay? Couple of different things going on here. I think number one, unlike what is happening with Black Panther and, you know, some of these other characters, we all suspected that Ray Stevenson's role would be recast. Okay? For a couple of reasons. Number one, the Baylon character is so important to that story in Star Wars overall. Man, I'm trying not to get too lost in the weeds here because I have so many thoughts, so many emotions about this. But on a side note, I'll just say, man, Ahsoka, I remember when Ahsoka came out, I was a huge fan. We rewatched it late last year. I think it's great. I think the final few episodes are lacking, but I think overall the show's fantastic. I feel like it was unfairly treated. And I think now, a year plus removed from it, and now that we see that, like, Skeleton Kids is getting even worse viewership than Acolyte, at least at the start, and Acolyte did what it did, and just in general, Star Wars has been on this crazy decline. Mando Season 3, what the fuck? Ahsoka is like a shining example of winning. I think you look at the numbers, I think you look at what the fans were talking about, and I think even some of the haters would have to admit, yeah, things were better back then. I'm going to be real. Like, things were better when Ahsoka was airing. So that show has become more important, not less important, more important because of how the shows that came out after it have performed. So going back to the character, we all assumed this character would be recast because, number one, such an important character. Baylon might be the most interesting new Star Wars character to be created in, I don't know what, the last decade? Maybe decade plus? Grogu is, of course, massive. I think some of us are kind of over Grogu at this point. You know what I mean? Mandalorian, great character, really awesome. You could even say Omega, new character and cool. She grew on me over time. I actually like the Omega character. But what Ray did and what Dave did with the writing with regards to Baylon, man, this is something special. We have not had something like this in Star Wars for some time. We also know, because of the way that show ended with Baylon leaving Shin, leaving his responsibilities, seeking fully the power, this ultimate power, which I, of course, believe is Abeloth. I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest it's Abeloth. That cliffhanger at the end of season 2, it made it pretty clear that we were going to get more Rey. And remember, they released that after Rey had passed. Rey passed before the whole show came out, unless I'm mistaken. So we knew that. We also knew, because of the rumors of it getting a season 2, that, yeah, we were going to get this character recast. The character's too important, and his story is too big of a deal for them to just let it go. Now, there's another aspect to this that Jeff talked about that I think is great. Apparently, Rory was actually friends with Ray Stevenson. And beyond that, he's still close with Ray's widow. And Ray's widow gave her blessing to Rory taking over this role. So, in these situations, like even the T'Challa stuff, right? Because it's like weird, right? We spoke to this a lot. I acknowledge the people at Marvel Studios being in a weird spot. They're close to this in a way that I am not. they made decisions that they felt were the right way at the time, and maybe they were for the time. There's always a consideration and a question: how are we going to honor the legacy of this person that did this before? Right? And I think the fact that Rory has an actual connection to Rey, that they were actually friends, and the fact that Rey's widow has given her blessing, that will go a long way to sort of ease how the fans feel about this and to connect us more to the actual performance and the character that Rey established, and perhaps give us a sort of easier transition into Rory as the character. I think that's great. I think that's really feel good. And especially for a brand like Star Wars, which was at one time and hopefully can find its way again to being generally a family-friendly, positive brand. You know what I mean? Like, Star Wars is supposed to be hopeful. Star Wars is supposed to be about family. Star Wars is supposed to kind of be deeply meaningful to the individual experience of a person. So it's cool to have that established for this transition, and it probably means that you will get a lot of respecting Rey, honoring his legacy through the press tour, through the interviews, through social media posts, through all of that sort of stuff. So all of that's incredibly positive. Now that brings us to maybe the ultimate question of this at the end of the day, with all of those things aside. Is this good casting? You know, we just talked about a lot of cool things about this, but do we think he could play the character of Baylon Skull? And I gotta say, I think it's pretty good. He's obviously different than Rey. And I think the thing that was interesting about Baylon, right, was he had this like softness and this philosophical aspect to him, but he was also like really powerful and adept at fighting and combat and all of these things, right? So I think Rory's a good actor. I think physically they are similar. I do think Rory is a little bit more, he's less soft. Not to say that he couldn't perform that way, and I'm sure he's like practicing and thinking about these very things right now. So I think from a physical perspective, they're similar. I think the way they perform might be slightly different. There might be some baggage with how we saw the Hound, and will we see the Hound when we see this new Baylon Skull? That's an obvious concern. But something that Roka brought up last night on the pod was like, it's possible that Baylon, the next time we see him, because technically the show ends with him going towards that thing, which I think is the pool of knowledge, which will be where Abeloth is, et cetera, right? So if the next time we see Baylon is post-Abeloth encounter, then they might make him look very different. You know, he could be sithed out a little bit. He could have the fangs and the crooked smile. He could have shadows and darkness under his eyes. He could, there's all sorts of things that they could do, right? So with that in mind, I think it could be pretty interesting. You know, technically, Rory might be playing a different version of Baylon, one that has been fully corrupted by Abeloth, which could be really cool. So I, as a Star Wars fan, I'm into it. I think it's a good pick. It feels respectful, and I have no issues with them recasting and moving forward. It does feel like it's going to be good, and I'm very happy that we're getting more Baylon. I mean, again, Baylon is so interesting. The story he's on is fascinating. It's probably the best part of the show, to be real. So overall, big W as far as I'm concerned. Of course, we're going to have to see how it actually operates in the show. And if he's like talking about eating all the chickens on, you know, that Peridia planet and stuff like that, it might shake me a little bit. I might not be into that shit. But for now, feels right, man. So what do you guys make of this situation? What do you think about the recasting here? Do you agree that it's good? Do you think fans are going to like it? Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. How could he impact what's happening with Thrawn? Well, I think Baylon's arc it has very little to do with Thrawn now. Remember, Baylon, Shin, Sabine, and Ahsoka are left behind on Peridea. It seems like the Citadel or Tower or the top of the catacombs, whatever it was, has been collapsed. And it seems like they're out there just kind of in the wild. And they're trying to like make their way back. So Baylon is going to go try to find Abeloth. I think Shin might try to find Baylon. And I think Sabine and Ahsoka are going to come to realize, maybe through Anakin, who's said to have a very big role in the second season, that they're on a mission of very important cosmic scale. So, like, their ultimate mission might be to stop Abeloth from coming into the main universe. Like, it's already bad that Thrawn's back, but if Abeloth makes her way into the main universe, like, that would be super bad. So that's kind of what I think is going on. Don't you think Ezra is going to do whatever he can to rescue them? I do think Ezra will try to rescue them, but I think the threat of Thrawn and the fact that Ezra knows so much about Thrawn, especially like in those gap years where they're on Peridea together, I think Ezra will be forced to stay in the main galaxy and help the Republic. I think he wants to go find his friends, and I think he will, but I think he might also understand what's at stake and have to do some other stuff. You know? Zach says, I think it's great for two reasons. One, like you said, it's very important to the character, and this is great casting. Two, it's an example of how to show respect to the fallen actor of Recast. Yeah, I agree. And that's, you know what's interesting? I'm going to segue into something here that I think is kind of interesting. That very idea could be replicated with John David Washington or with Denzel Washington because, again, there is a connection there. Denzel Washington paid for some summer acting classes for a young Chadwick Boseman. Boseman has talked about this, before he obviously passed, and that's a really cool connection. And so if either Denzel or Denzel's son were to step up and pick up the mantle of the Black Panther, and there was a similar sort of connection drawn between the actual actors and some of the respect for the legacy, it could go a long way. So maybe that's what we're seeing happen over there as well. Yes, interesting. John David is too small to play Black Panther and too short? I mean, maybe. How tall is he? I like it. Ahsoka's the only good thing that dog shit franchise has going on. I mean, I agree. Still haven't watched Skeleton Kids this week, but the past 2 weeks were good. Yeah, I'm gonna just probably catch up when it's all over. I'll finish it off and then I'll let you guys know my thoughts. But I mean, look, that show's not doing well, and I think that's kind of an understatement. Now, I've heard from some people on Twitter, like, and even Theory, I think said this, and I think some of you guys brought this up. There's some people claiming that it's getting more viewership as the weeks go on. That would shock me. I have not actually seen any evidence for that. So, like, if that is a thing, somebody should tell me about it. Okay, so here's an article. From that was on Screen Rant, but I cannot read it because I'd have to according to a third-party analytics, has broken a milestone becoming the #1 TV show on Disney Plus worldwide. See, I don't know. This company here, Flix Patrols Analytics. Who the fuck is that? You know what I mean? They just don't seem established at all. We're gonna know soon. Nielsen will give us some numbers and some indications of how the show's performing. Right now, I think Luminant is out there talking about it. And as far as I'm aware, the only thing I really knew was that it was continuing to miss the top 10. That's what Luminant was reporting. So I don't know. It's possible that it's gaining some viewership. That could happen. Word of mouth. I mean, that happened to Penguin and whatnot. So totally possible. Word of mouth is still a huge deal. But this show is not doing well, and I guess Disney could make a decision. Like it's kind of interesting because from what I understand, and this was reported by Luminate, Acolyte was canceled not just because it had abysmal opening numbers, but because it got worse and worse. And I remember sharing this because Eck and I got into like a just not even a beef, but like he was questioning it. And I was like explaining that they're basically looking at the trends. And they're like, bro, there's no way this show's going to recover even close to the rest of our shows. So we're going to cancel it, right? That's what happened. Disney ultimately has all the data, even though they might not tell us everything. They know exactly what's going on. So Disney's going to have to see like, okay, so they started off pretty poor. Do we think it has a shelf life? Do we think people will eventually discover it? Is it worth investing into another season? So they'll have to figure that out for themselves. I couldn't tell you. I really don't know either way that it'll go. Grateful Doom says, it's okay, not great. Don't love the Amblin vibes. Yeah, it's just, the vibe's not for me. I just don't like it. And it doesn't feel like Star Wars. Some people feel like it's close enough that it's Star Wars. Some other people are referencing things from the old Expanded Universe or Legends that were in a similar vibe and they like it and they think it works. So, you know, it's all good. If you like it, it's cool. If it's all good. If you like it, it's cool. It's chill. Flix Patrol is not a viewership site. It's a social media engagement score. Understood. So that would not be reliable then. But again, number one, I'm not paying to read the Screen Rant article. And number two, we're going to know soon, dude. Trust me. We will know soon. That will be news. You know what I mean? If it's ticking up, they'll talk about it. If it was really ticking up, I think Star Wars themselves or Disney would talk about it. Remember when they had like numbers for Ahsoka, and then I think they had numbers for Acolyte too. They came out and like spun the numbers in a really good way. They haven't done shit for Skeleton Crew, at least as far as I know. I haven't seen any of that. That's pretty telling. Like, if they had good things to report, they'd be reporting it. If they had okay things to report that they could spin to make it look really good, they would be doing that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't think it's going very well. Yeah. Yeah. So, any other comments about the Ahsoka season 2 stuff, the Baylon stuff? I guess I'll add in here too. Apparently, and I didn't catch this. If Jeff really said this last night, I missed it. But apparently, Jeff said last night, maybe in passing, that Mando season 4 might still happen. So we might get like Mando 3.5 as the movie, and then Mando season 4 as an additional season after that. That's kind of weird, but I could see it happening. Like, if Ahsoka season 2 comes out and then they have Mando 4 and then they have Filoni's movie and they're trying to like pull all of these people together to create like their Avengers for Dave's movie or whatever, sure, I could see that happening. Yeah. Yeah, dude. And Matt, it's good to see you in chat, man. And I'm really excited. I mean, obviously we were supposed to meet yesterday, but I had all that crap happen. I'm excited. I'm really excited to do this podcast with you, brother. There's so many cool things to discuss within Warhammer. So, like, I'll say this real quick, and then we'll move on to the other news, because you guys will kill me if I start going into crazy Warhammer stuff. But, you know, one of the biggest questions in all of Warhammer, Matt, and this is something I want to ask you and have, like, I just want to do a couple hours on literally just this topic because it's fascinating, is the Emperor of Mankind some 6D playing genius, and therefore the current state of the galaxy is acceptable because it's keeping us from a much darker, way worse scenario? Or is it all a lie? Was this dude just a bad manager and now everything's kind of fucked? Like, that's I think one of the biggest questions of the whole setting. Because, you know, we talk about hope, and, you know, Matt and I had a conversation about, like, you know, Tolkien stuff has a lot of hope. Star Wars has a lot of hope. Warhammer does not have a lot of hope. But ironically, all of the hope within Warhammer is predicated on this idea that, like, this is way better and the Emperor has a plan. That eventually the Emperor, whether it's the Star Child prophecy, or he just stands up off the golden throne or whatever. The Emperor has a plan. And so the hope in Warhammer is connected to that idea of the big E actually having a plan. But ironically, the grimdark setting, if it follows through on its own tropes, would indicate that that hope is false and that everything's fucked. You know what I mean? So it's like a fascinating philosophical conversation to get into. There's a lot of cool things that I would bring up as far as like the Sisters of Battle and the Living Saints and some of that stuff. Like what's going on with that? You know, the Dark King from the Horus Heresy and these kind of ideas. So, whoo, a lot of stuff to get into, man. Lots of stuff to get into. Is it over yet? Oh, please stop. Oh, my goodness. It's not like I'm torturing you. You guys. I am kind of torturing, though. I'm wearing you down, man. This is like playing the Barney song at Guantanamo Bay. Eventually, you're going to be ready to talk Warhammer. Okay, let's get into the next thing here. This one's wild, ladies and gentlemen. Holy, this one's crazy, dude. So, I mean, just to take a step back before I even read this freaking, headline and everything here. The Hulk news, World War Hulk, Hulk versus Wolverine, all of these, we've been all over the place with this stuff. Holy, man. What's the deal with Hulk? And now all of a sudden he's going to be in Spider-Man 4 as well. We're going to talk about it. So let's read this report here and then let's fill in some of the gaps. So this came out from the World of Real. By the way, they actually have gotten a lot of stuff right. Community notes on Twitter try to make it seem like they're total randos that don't get anything right. Jesus, man, that's not true. Like they have pretty good sources over there, man. George Miller, y'all know Georgie boy? Y'all know Georgie boy? I will get into all the chats in just a bit here, man. I want to do the segments and then we'll get in more into Q&A. George Miller has shown interest in directing Thor 5 and Hulk. Let's read the article. There hasn't been a Hulk movie since 2008's Incredible Hulk. Before that one, we had Ang Lee's polarizing Hulk in 2003. But otherwise, the character has mostly shown up in Avengers and Captain America movies. By the way, when's the last time y'all watched Hulk by Ang Lee? That was a movie that at the time I liked a lot when I was a kid. I think I went to see it in theaters multiple times. My cousin and I went to see it a couple times. Revisited it a couple of years ago when all the multiverse rumors started kicking off for Secret Wars. It is awful. It is horrible, that Hulk movie. Like, holy. Anyway, last night, a listing on Production Weekly had World War Hulk shooting in 2025. I decided to reach out to a few of my sources and confirm this bit of news, and what I got was quite a lot of information. Although plans are not official at the moment, the goal is to indeed shoot the film this year. Mark Ruffalo is set to come back in the titular role, and his character will have a very busy year as this coming February's Captain America Brave New World will set up World War Hulk for him, and a few months later, Thunderbolts will be the connecting branch for the character's first solo movie. Now, that's crazy. We're going to have to come back to that. It's pretty wild how Marvel boss Kevin Feige hasn't given us a Hulk movie in the MCU yet. I get that it's a rights issue, and that's slowed down the process, but there's honestly nothing that money can't buy when it comes to Disney. They'll nab the rights if they haven't already. The World War Hulk comic follows on the tragic death of Hulk's wife. A more powerful Hulk then vows vengeance against the Illuminati and Earth's heroes and wreaks havoc against waves of Earth's mightiest defenders, taking out a slew of targets in his chaotic path. Now, here's the most interesting intel I gathered from last night. Feige has reached out to numerous directors for World War Hulk, including George Miller. George Miller, probably best known for like the Mad Max movies and Furiosa and all that, right? Additionally, Miller has also shown interest in helming Thor 5, and it was actually his Furiosa star, Chris Hemsworth, who set up the meeting between Miller and Feige. Quite interesting, huh? One shouldn't be surprised by Miller's interest in directing an MCU movie. He had a planned DCU movie, Justice League Mortal, and it fell apart during the final days of pre-production. I think because of a strike, actually. That will remain one of the great cinematic what-ifs. Just imagine Miller's visual pow directing a Justice League movie. Yeah, it would have been sick. In 2019 interview with Deadline, Miller defied Martin Scorsese's anti-Marvel take and admitted to being a big fan of the MCU. Let's go. One of us. One of us. One of us. He said, Martin Scorsese is a punk-ass bitch. I watch all of them, to be honest. In terms of this debate, cinema is cinema, and it's very broad church. The test ultimately is what it means to the audience. And also, Scorsese's kind of stinky. Can't believe he said that personal stuff, but that's pretty cool. Miller additionally pointed out Scorsese's hubris in assuming that commercially successful movie would constitute compromised art. It's such a broad spectrum, a wide range to say that anyone is more significant or more important than the other is missing the point. It's one big mosaic, and each bit of work fits into it. Miller isn't just a director of Mad Max movies. Least we forget, he also directed The Witches of Eastwick, Babe, Pig in the City, Happy Feet, and Happy Feet 2. What? I actually didn't know he did the Happy Feet movies. Whoa! Okay. Okay, couple of things to get into here, but there's context, man. We got to add some context to it. So, Production Weekly drops this idea that the Hulk movie, World War Hulk, is going to film at the end of 2025. This guy reaches out to sources and realizes that, oh shit, it's real. Now, he says a couple of things here. Mark Ruffalo's coming back in the titular role, and his character will have a very busy year. This coming February's Captain America Brave New World will set up World War Hulk. For him, a few months later, Thunderbolts will be the connecting branch for the character's first solo MCU movie. That's wild. So a couple of things are going on here. From what I understand, and we're going to have to get just a little spoilery here. I plan on doing a full breakdown of this with all the spoilers and some speculation on the main channel, which I hope to release this weekend if we can resolve all of the issues. I don't think I can actually upload any videos right now until I resolve those issues. So hopefully I can get that figured out and get this video out to you over the weekend with like all the spoilers. But what I will say for now is interesting about this is I was told that at the end of Thunderbolts, or rather Captain America, there's going to be a scene with the leader and Sam Wilson's Captain America. And essentially the leader is going to tell Sam that something big is coming, and the leader will justify a lot of the actions that he takes during the movie as necessary to prepare Earth for this big threat. Okay. Now, moving on to the Thunderbolts, it's interesting because the Thunderbolts and the creation of the Sentry seems to be an extension of the thinking that's in Brave New World as far as the leader creating all of these super powerful people. So, if the person that created the Sentry, which I think is Val, if she is aware of what's going on in Brave New World, and then she realizes that there's a big threat coming, that's potentially the motivation to even create the Sentry in the first place. And so it is possible that this whole idea of Thunderbolts being the connective branch for the character's first solo MCU movie, I think what he's talking about is this idea that Thunderbolts is going to set up World War Hulk. So perhaps the thing that's going on in Brave New World that the leader is trying to prepare us for, the thing that he tells Sam about, is the same thing that motivates Val to create the Sentry and try to control the Sentry. And then the characters there then understand that this is all connected to this big coming threat. Okay. So hold that thought for a second, because I want to go over this thread from Cryptic HD Quality, because we have discussed for like maybe the last month or two the possibility of a Hulk versus Wolverine film. This was first scooped by My Time to Shine Hello, who said Hulk versus Wolverine movie is in development. Just a week later, maybe a month later, she said World War Hulk movie's in development. Okay, so look, I don't know, man. She's wrong one of the ways. She's reading the tea leaves. She might not know everything that's going on. She first indicated that Hulk vs. Wolverine was a thing. We followed up on it, talked to some people. I even talked to Cryptic HD in the DMs about this, and he shared some stuff with me about it. Just this week, he came out on Twitter and clarified a few things about Hulk vs. Wolverine. Interesting timing, considering what we just read in the article. This was published a day before the World of Real article. So here's what I've heard about Hulk vs. Wolverine film. I'm told the next Hulk-oriented film most likely isn't going to be Hulk vs. Wolverine film. Instead, Doomsday or Secret Wars will likely plant seeds for it, giving us a small round one fight and a full-on brawl later down the line. I was told that there were talks about having a Hulk vs. Wolverine film, but it's more likely to happen during the Mutant Saga if they 100% plan to make it. There would also be a deeper reasoning for the fight to take place. It wouldn't be half-assed cash grab just for people to come and watch the fight. I mean, honestly, I'd be down with either, but Marvel does tend to want things to be story-driven, which I've talked to you guys about as well. It's way too soon to go into the details about it, though. This also ties into AVX. We're probably getting a tease for this in Doomsday or Secret Wars, and very much later down the line, we'll get a full-scale AVX political-type war. At least, that's what I'm hearing. Okay, so let's put this report into the context with the other report that we just went over. So, if he has heard that the next Hulk-oriented film isn't going to be Hulk vs. Wolverine, it's likely because he heard it's actually World War Hulk. Interesting. He says that Doomsday or Secret Wars will likely plant seeds for it, giving us a small round one fight with a brawl later on down the line. He said that there are talks about this film happening, but it's more likely to happen during the Mutant Saga. He said that there'll be a story reason for it. And he said that this ties to Avengers vs. X-Men. Okay, now, again, I'm going to get into full-ass, total spoilery, as nerdy and sweaty as you can imagine detail in a big old produced video on the main channel, or potentially my new channel after everything gets deleted. So check this out. What I can say for now is that my mind immediately goes to the Maestro Hulk. Okay? To the Maestro Hulk. So if Production Weekly is correct, and if World War Hulk happens in 2025, meaning they shoot that movie this year, then it could be a Battle World film. And if it is a Battle World film, meaning it takes place between Doomsday and Secret Wars, it would make sense if it were a version of Hulk still played by Ruffalo. That's the Maestro, because there's actually extensive evidence that Maestro Hulk is going to be a thing, and that Maestro Hulk is likely to be one of these dark Avengers that's working for Doctor Doom. Okay, I'll go over all of this in the produced video. For now, you just got to trust me. There's a lot of breadcrumbs that lead to the fact that the Maestro Hulk is coming to the MCU. So, how do you explain a World War Hulk movie being a Battle World film, being shot immediately, and it's still setting up things for the future? How does this tie into Avengers vs. X-Men? How does this possibly make Avengers vs. X-Men a political fight in the next saga? Because another thing we've heard is Kevin Feige's recent comments that you're going to see more X-Men characters in the next few Marvel movies. And then the story of Secret Wars sets up a whole new future for the mutants and the X-Men. The way you bring all of that together is Doom having his own group of Avengers. And one of the members of the Avengers that Doom assembles is Maestro Hulk. And Maestro Hulk essentially rules Earth, or is like a big, like the way I see it is that Maestro Hulk would literally be given domain over Earth in Doom's new universe. So we're kind of getting into pretty crazy speculation territory here, but I kind of think the Battle World universe will have multiple figureheads that rule multiple places. So I think if they do an evil version of Thor, which I think they will, he will be the new Odin. He will rule over a version of Asgard in Doom's new universe. Now, originally, I thought Maestro Hulk would rule Sakaar. And he would rule Sakaar, and he would have gladiatorial tournaments or something like that, and Sakaar would be this big deal in Doom's new universe or whatever. And maybe that's still what it is, and maybe World War Hulk doesn't take place on 616, and instead takes place on Sakaar. But it's also possible that Maestro Hulk rules Earth. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is potentially the way you tie World War Hulk into the current multiversal saga in a way that could allow you to do this World War Hulk thing. It allows you to set it up via Thunderbolts and Captain America, because Sentry is going to be an important part of that, probably. And yet, it still doesn't take away from anything that they're kind of potentially building for Secret Wars. Now, another thing that's going on here, and like, bro, I mean, get yourself a rag, get yourself one of those little fans or something, grab a Gatorade, because we're getting sweaty, bro. We're getting sweaty here. On a side note, and I want to do a full topic on this, but we'll touch on it here because I think it is interesting to the point. John Roca said last night that he has heard that Spider-Man 4 might become Spider-Man and the Punisher fighting against the Hulk. If Spider-Man 4 and World War Hulk are both Battle World movies, then they could directly tie together because it's Maestro and he rules Earth. And that could be a perfect little story to kind of build and defeat Maestro and then go after Doctor Doom. Okay? So we're speculating a lot. You know, we're trying to read the tea leaves. I'm trying to talk about this report here. I'm trying to talk about the George Miller report. There's a way that it could all fit together. And holy, to me, this is some super exciting stuff. So we'll leave it for there. I want to talk more about Spider-Man 4 in a second here. But for now, what do you think about this crazy-ass story? George Miller doing Hulk, potentially doing Thor 5 as well, and it being the Maestro Hulk. Like, what do you make of that? Like, what do you guys think of that? Where would Daredevil fit into this? Daredevil probably fit into it like, you know, him and Punisher are there and they're trying to track down Spidey, and then like Maestro Hulk or another one of the Hulks just smashes Daredevil in the face and he's dead. That's probably how Daredevil fits into it. By the way, I was actually watching Daredevil last night. I'm trying to rewatch the show and work on my breakdown preview video for when that show drops in a couple of months here. Daredevil and Punisher, you know each other. They have a history. So if Daredevil's still in the thing, Punisher being in the thing is actually makes sense. I think it's fake news, low key. Which part of it's fake news? I mean, here's what I will say. There's obviously a lot of stuff going on with Marvel right now. I think Spider-Man 4 specifically is a really tricky one because this thing is, we've had rumors for this thing for years. I just did this massive video breaking down all of the rumors. And now I have to do an additional video, which will reference that video, but now talk about these Hulk and Punisher things and some of the other stuff that's going on here. Man, I just don't know. The other thing that's... Well, hang on. Let's just stay on topic because we're about to talk about Spider-Man 4. For now, let's talk about Miller. Let's talk about Hulk. What do you think? Now George Miller makes better sense as the director. I think so, especially if the Earth is kind of ruined. It's hard to say, right? Because we had these ideas that like Aunt May was going to be back, There's also some ideas like Alex Perez has said, why are you guys trying to make me talk about Spider-Man 4? God damn it. Or do I just keep doing it? There's this idea that Spider-Man 4 might become cosmic, not multiversal, but cosmic. And so if Maestro is the ruler of Sakaar, maybe the Spider-Boys need to go defeat him or something on Sakaar to then get access to Doom or something like that. Like, there's ways this could work. And then maybe after Spider-Man 4, Hulk gets really fucking pissed and then comes back to Earth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of options the way it could happen. So Maestro would be Mark of the Dark Avengers. Yeah, I think it would be played by Ruffalo for sure. Look, I've speculated a lot about this. We don't know for sure, but it feels like all of the Avengers are going to get the opportunity to play an evil variant of themselves. That's essentially what Tony's doing, right? That's what RDJ is doing. We feel very strongly that that's what's happening with Hydra Captain America. Jeff had the Nomad reports, but then Alex Perez reported that he has heard that Chris is getting a dual role, and that one of the roles will be a version of Captain America that stands beside Doctor Doom. Well, what the fuck could that be? It's Hydra Cap. Duh. So, we're reading the tea leaves. We're trying to figure it out, but the evidence suggests that you're going to get evil variants of the Avengers. Faux show. Faux show. Sam the Smith says, it's been 8 months since I dipped into a live stream. What happened? Things been wild? You all good, brother? You all good? What a fun twist on the Dark Avengers. I agree. I think it would be lit. Can you imagine getting the action figures for all of the evil versions of the Avengers? Come on, man. Like, you've already got your OG Avengers, right? The Infinity War versions of all those characters. Maybe you got the Hot Toys. Maybe you got the Funkos. Maybe you got the Marvel Legends. And now we got to collect the evil versions. And to have that evil version of the Avengers, whoo, put it on a shelf. Mad Max isn't bad. Miller could do a good Thor or Hulk movie. I agree. I love George Miller's aesthetic style, especially with the Mad Max films. Woo! How many super chats you need to start streaming Rivals right now? It's not a matter of super chats. Here's what I'll say. I need the afternoon to try to go resolve some stuff. I might be able to play Rivals later tonight with y'all on Twitch. But also, there's a lot going on. So trust me, I'd love to just get in on some Rivals, baby. We got like one more story, then we got to get into Q&A. And then I got to go try to figure out what the hell's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. Appreciate you though, Braden. Appreciate you. Now, how many super chats do I need to switch it into Warhammer? Just a single $1. A single like on the video. And $1, and I will make this a Warhammer stream. I'll make you that deal. I'm about to update it right now. Oh, hell yeah. Is it a skill issue? No, Lady Boner. I got them skills. Wonder if the Multiverse Dark Avengers is the reason they changed the Thunderbolts name. Maybe. I don't think so. I think I know what's going on there, but I don't think it has to do with that. Let me catch up on some super chats too. This is the type of stream I love and brings me back to the end game in Infinity Ward days. Love this. Thanks, Josh. Oh, dude, hell yeah. No, this is the shit. And also, this is really what we have to look forward to for the next couple of years. You know, these are the kind of things I'm excited to talk about. I'm actually really excited to make this big produced video. And just give you guys some real nerdy and entertaining and speculative content, man. We're gonna have so much fun this year. We're gonna have so much fun next year as well. Crazy 8 says, how about a 2 for a Warhammer then? Okay, it's a Warhammer stream now, baby. Woo! Woo! It's a Warhammer stream now. I'm thinking about George doing a Savage Land X-Men. Oh, that would be sick too, dude. Hell yeah, that'd be sick. Rashi says, how supers for you to get another haircut? I have an appointment tomorrow evening, I'll have you know. Let's make it a Warhammer stream. Let's fucking go. Hey, how about this? As a little experiment, as a little experiment, let's just do a little experiment here. We still have a little Marvel news to go over. Don't worry, I'm just kidding about the Warhammer stuff. But I am curious about this. Dirt Wizard says, Warhammer time, let's go. Yo, have you guys noticed the shift? Den of Warhammer. You see what I mean? Look at this. Have you guys noticed the shift? By the way, not to toot my own horn, but toot. I told you this was going to happen. A lot of the mainstream big IPs right now are sort of failing their fans. And Warhammer has not done that yet. So I think there's a lot of hope and a lot of interest in what Warhammer is going to do. Have you guys noticed this? Have you noticed the shift? And here's what I'll ask the chat. I'm going to Melvin now. Oh, man. Here's what I want to know. If you personally have become more interested in Warhammer, if you're kind of ready to like learn about Warhammer, throw a 1 into the chat. I'm just curious because about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, every time I brought it up, I got so much pushback and people were so mad. And that has changed. That has changed. So if if you're a little bit if you're Warhammer curious, you know what I mean, throw a little 1 into the chat. I just want to know where we're at. Eli Thomas says, Warhammer, you mean Snorehammer? Yeah, Sam the Smith says, to answer you, disenchanted after Loki ended. Also, PT for my knee. Fell in a hole. Better now. Thank you for noticing me. Looking forward to more live streams. Dang, bro. Fell into a hole, huh? Jeez. That sounds freaking tough, man. You know what that reminds me of? And I'm sorry if this is kind of messed up to say, but it reminds me of the Prestige. Remember when he tricks him into falling into that thing and then he has to walk with a limp for the rest of the time? Whew! Look at all these 1s, baby. Look at all these 1s, baby. Ooh, a 0.8 from Kendall. We're getting there. Where's Hey, Rob. What's up, brother? Rob, are you playing tonight, man? I'll get on stream with you. I'll play a little tonight. Justin with several 1s in there. Oh, Justin. A little Warhammer curious, are we? Yeah. Hey, Rob, hit me up, brother. Also, Rob, you have to text me anyways because I lost all my contacts because I had to get a new phone, and I'm the worst with phones and technology, so you got to hit me up. Okay. You're playing today? I probably can't get on until like 5 or 6, to be honest. But yeah, I can pop on like most of today. Oh, lucky you, Rab. Lucky you, Rab. Yeah, I got some bullcrap to take care of. Aaliyah says, belated Xmas gift delivered to the P.O. box per tracking. Apologize if the price is included. They had it online. Oh, it's all good. It is all good. Yeah, we won't put your info out there. Appreciate you. Let me just catch up on a few chats, guys. Then I want to talk more about Spider-Man 4. Then we can talk more about Warhammer. Okay. Let's see here. Cool Bear says, did someone say Shin? Oh my God. This dude's ears start itching if somebody's talking about Shin. Brandon says, where do you stand on the Vong Purgle theory? I think the Vong Purgle thing is still real, but hard to say. I mean, I wanted a little bit more in the Ahsoka season. Perhaps they'll touch on it more, in season 2. Apparently, there was a Yuuzhan Vong flag in Skeleton Kids. I don't know about that, but I saw people talking about it, so that's potentially another sign that that's real. So yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is probably real. But here's the issue: we also have James Mangold saying, "I'm gonna establish the Jedi 26,000 years ago, and I don't give a fuck about lore." I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. I don't love that, man. If Filoni's trying to tie all this stuff to like legends and the EU and like the Celestials and all these ancient races and the Vong and all this stuff, like, come on, man. Joshua says, missed you yesterday. How are them banjo links? Hey, can you DM me again on Twitter? Just remind me later today. Just be like, hey, man, just a reminder. Banjo, real cool. Check it out. Because I'm sorry. Yesterday was crazy, dude. This stuff happening in the afternoon. It took my whole day. Mr. Falcon, thank you for the gifted membership. Appreciate you. Rossi says, no, I overslept. Joshua. Dude, I slept in a little bit today. I didn't like sleep in, but I woke up at 5 in the morning and I was like, okay, time to start the day. And I saw that it was 5 and I was like, what? Fuck that. I went back to sleep. I woke up at 7:30 and then I slept again for like an hour till 8:30. And man, it felt so good to go back to sleep. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys had this experience, but back in the day, man, getting ready for school, like I'm talking like middle school or high school, God, it was the worst. It was the worst. Sometimes I'd wake up, take a shower, because we all had to like take showers so that there was actually hot water and stuff. I'd take a shower, I'd go right back into my bed and fall asleep again until my parents woke me up. Like I showered and I would just sleep under my blanket. And those were some of the best sleeps. Like there's something about early in the morning when you're tired and you decide to just go back to sleep. Oh, it feels incredible. The rest you get is unbelievable. So, yeah. Soul said, you wore me down. I have a 14-hour flight next week. Which Warhammer book should I start with? So, for me, I always say Valdor. I do think, Matt kind of told me when he read it or when he tried to, he just didn't have enough. He didn't have enough info to like get into it. I still think it's pretty good, but you probably want to have at least a basic knowledge of like what happened with the Emperor and how the palace was being built, etc. Lion, Son of the Forest is a really good one, but again, like it kind of jumps you way ahead. Horus Rising is cool. That's the first book in the Horus Heresy. Yeah. Yeah, those are all pretty good. I like Valdor the best. But then again, like I know all about the Custodes. So when I read that book or when I listen to it on Audible, I'm like, oh shit, this, that, oh my God. Thunder Warriors, oh shit. So Rossi, thanks for gifting a membership. Mr. Falcon says, personally, I love the Warhammer talk. Space Marine 2 was my favorite game of last year. Had so many nerdgasms playing that campaign. Had to finish the game on with no pants. Oh, hell yeah. That's how you know you're doing real good there. Yeah, I mean, I obviously love Warhammer. It brings me a lot of joy. I want to try to play some games soon because there's like new rules out for my army. But, yo. All right, let's see here. Let's make it a Warhammer stream. Den of Warhammer, appreciate you. Let's see here. Philip Hatch says, why aren't any of these rumors involving Loki? Are they saving him for after Secret Wars? That's a good question. I don't know the exact answer, but what I will tell you is I think Loki. So like Calty, kind of Calty, Tay does great work. He speculates that Doom will come face to face with Loki in Doomsday. I don't actually think so. I think the next time we see Loki will sort of be like an ass pull thing and we'll realize he was doing all this stuff behind the scenes, potentially gathering up characters from the multiverse before it collapses and then bringing them in to the new Doom universe or something like that. But yeah, it is kind of strange. No Loki rumors, huh? I mean, we know he's going to be involved because he's holding everything together. He's seemingly one of the most powerful characters in the multiverse right now. So, yeah. That's a good question. I don't know the answer. Okay, let's talk about Spider-Man 4, guys. Let's talk about Spider-Man 4. So, we'll just kind of do this one full face cam because I don't have like a visual for this. But so yesterday on the Hot Mic podcast, ton of stuff, man. They dropped a bunch of news. I'm really grateful. Gives us a lot to talk about, a lot of videos to make, etc. But one of the things that John said that has become somewhat controversial is John Roca said one of his very best sources told him that Spider-Man 4 was going to be Spider-Man teaming up with Punisher to fight against Hulk. And I had the reaction that maybe many of you had, and I was like, bro, what? Like, what is this movie, man? What is this movie? You know, we got rumors of Ghost Rider. We got rumors of Mephisto. We got rumors of Daredevil. We got rumors of, like, it's just been insane, dude. RDJ is supposed to be in it. Vulture's supposed to be in it. Aunt May is supposed to be in it. The Spider Boys are supposed to be in it. And they're supposed to get a way bigger role than they originally got. We had Alex Perez saying that they want to tap into that Deadpool Wolverine energy, right? Where you've got the team that's all, you know, giving homage or paying respect to Fox. They want that in Spider-Man 4, but for Sony, right? So where the hell is even Hulk and Punisher coming from? What does that mean? Now, I do want to say, a lot of people are saying, Roka doesn't know, Roka doesn't have good sources or anything like that. That's not true. John does not give a lot of scoops. I think he said like 3 or 4 in the past year that I can recall. But every time he does, it seems to be pretty spot on. I mean, does anybody really think Andy Muschietti is still on Brave and the Bold? John had that like a year ago, man. You know what I'm saying? And I believe him. So I believe these reports insofar as these are actual plans that Marvel either had at one time or have now shifted to. Right? This is so weird, though, right? Because, like, you know, one of the things he said was it was going to be more grounded. Spider-Man 4 would be grounded with Spider-Man and Punisher versus the Hulk. That's a little bit of an oxymoron. I don't know what that means. How can you be grounded when you're fighting against the biggest green rage monster that there is in comics, right? There's also the problem that this film is a battle world film. This film takes place between Doomsday and Secret Wars. Kevin Feige has publicly come out and said that it takes place between those two movies. He was asked in that, I think it was the same presentation in maybe Brazil, where he was asked about the X-Men stuff, and then he was asked about, you know, the plan for Secret Wars and stuff like that. Feige specifically said that we have a Spider-Man movie plan that will release between the two movies. He didn't say it was going to be a prequel. He basically said it will be a movie that takes place, like story-wise, takes place in between those two films, because he was asked about the story between them. So there's a lot you need to try to figure out and decipher with regards to these. How could the movie be grounded, have Aunt May, have him going to college, have Peter being Peter, and yet it now seemingly involves Punisher and the Hulk? But it still has to be involved in the Spider Boys, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, they're not going to drop the Spider Boys from that? Weird. However, one thing that potentially makes this make sense is the Maestro Hulk rumors. Because it seems if George Miller is really going to shoot World War Hulk at the end of this year, then Hulk will get the mystery date that's before Secret Wars. A lot of speculation. What's that mystery movie? Are there multiple movies between Secret Wars and Doomsday? We know Spider-Man 4 is one. There were rumors that Doctor Strange 3 could be one. There were rumors that Hulk vs. Wolverine, which now we think is World War Hulk, could be one. There were even rumors that Thor 5 could be one. We just got a question in chat about Loki. I think Loki has significant things to do with his brother, potentially fighting against the evil version of his brother and against RDJ's Doctor Doom. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on there. So if World War Hulk is the mystery battle world movie and Spider-Man is fighting against Hulk in Spider-Man 4, then I think it gives more credibility to the idea of this version of Hulk being the Maestro Hulk, which again is an evil version of the Hulk. Otherwise, it's heroic Hulk that flips again, and then you have Spider-Man and Punisher fighting against the regular Hulk. Like, I don't know how to place that. That doesn't make sense to me given the context of all the other rumors. But if it's a new world, and if the ruler of this new world is Maestro Hulk, or if Maestro Hulk is holding on to something or has other heroes that potentially are going to be a barrier to Spider-Man wanting to stop Doctor Doom, then that would mean that Peter would have to go fight Hulk. Okay, now we just talked about this in the George Miller thing. I think it's a possibility that Maestro Hulk is like the ruler of Earth 616 in Doctor Doom's new universe, because the rumors are that Doctor Doom will create a new universe for Spider-Man 4 and potentially for World War Hulk and then for Secret Wars. So maybe you have this dark, evil version of Hulk that is in charge of the planet or is on another planet, but is some kind of a barrier, an obstacle for Tom Holland's Spider-Man for his ultimate goal, which is to liberate 616. Right? So that's pretty crazy. I think if they want to go crazy on the Maestro Hulk, you know, a lot of people recognize that Hulk himself is a super underutilized character, especially recently. And if you're talking about powerful versions of Avengers or Dark Avengers, this, that, second, and the third, right? Man, it would be crazy if it was Hulk. You know, it would be really crazy if it was Hulk. I mean, this is just getting so wild. Venom, symbiotes, other Spider-Man, Punisher, Ghost Rider, Mephisto, and maybe an evil version of Hulk. Holy, like that's a lot. So part of me thinks this could be a version of the script that is no longer going to happen. You know, maybe they're not going to do that anymore. But it's also possible this is a new plan to lean into the character of Hulk, use him as like a B-level villain to Doom during the Battle World saga. I mean, that's kind of cool, especially if it's the Maestro Hulk. I'd be into it. Like, we get it in Spider-Man 4, and then something happens that causes Maestro Hulk to go crazy, and then Earth itself is like decimated, and that's World War Hulk to try to overthrow Maestro, to then reassemble the Avengers, to then go after Doctor Doom in Secret Wars. Like, man, that could actually work. As far as Punisher, I don't know why you would do Punisher, but I do love great team-ups. Punisher and Spider-Man, they've had stuff in the comics. Technically, Punisher shoots Peter Parker during Civil War, so they don't really, you know, he doesn't really like him. They're kind of at odds. But you know what else would be kind of interesting? If Tom Holland's Peter Parker is in the symbiote suit, if he's got the black suit, and Punisher's like the devil on his shoulder, you know what I mean? And then you've got the Spider Boys that are like the angels on his shoulder. That could be kind of interesting. That could be an interesting dilemma for Peter. Will he become like the Punisher, or will he become like the other Spider-Man? That's kind of cool. So I think this rumor is fun. I don't really know what to make of it. I need to talk to more people. I need to do more research. But ultimately, I think it could be really cool. So, what do you guys think? I mean, holy, Spider-Man 4, one of the craziest movies maybe ever that I've covered. So many rumors, so many changes. And one other thing that I will say on this too is we did get reports from Daniel and I think from Shine as well this week, where they were talking about Spider-Man 4 being rewritten again. Do you remember this? I've covered this a couple of times because it came up on stream like last week and then earlier this week. I kind of downplayed it where I'm like, I don't understand why they're reporting this. Like, we knew the script was being worked on. Well, now, given Roka's comments, we look back at these reports of the script being redone, and we're like, interesting. I wonder if those two things go together. I wonder if they really did just say, fuck all that other stuff. Let's do Hulk. I don't know. could be pretty crazy. So would love to know what you think about this. Either way, the crazy rumors for Spider-Man 4 continue onward. Hulk, Punisher, what the hell? Let me know what you think about this, chat. What do you think? Is it too much? Is it just enough? Let me know. Mashby, thank you for 8 months over on Twitch, man. Appreciate you. Fearsome Halo says, the thing regarding Loki not having much rumors for some reason could be one of two reasons. Either he doesn't actually have a significant role, or he is such a wild role that Marvel making sure it's not disclosed. That's true. That's fair. Didn't Daniel RPK say a Punisher show too this week? He did. I think that might have been last week, but yes, he did report that a Punisher show is in the works. Yeah. Yes. Doesn't the Maestro Hulk work for Doctor Doom and Hickman's Secret Wars? I think so. I don't specifically remember that. I know that the Hulks up in what they called the Greenland are all subservient to God, which is Doom. And maybe Maestro rules all of them. I don't specifically remember. As long as Soy Boy Scar isn't involved. Yeah, he needs to fix the haircut and become a badass again. I really wanted to get King in Black or some shape or form, but Sony effed it up. Yeah, right. That's a whole nother element is like, is Noel involved? Seemed like Sony really wanted Noel and Venom to be involved. Venom 3 did decent enough to possibly warrant that, but the kicker is Venom was technically connected to those other characters too, like Morbius, Vulture, Madam Web, and all that, right? They were trying to build an entire universe. Venom is literally referencing Morbius. So did the fact that Sony bombed so bad with Kraven that now they've sort of, their CEO's different, and the guy that was in charge of all those movies stepped down, because that happened earlier this week, right? The guy that was in charge of all those movies, he's gone too. Does all of that just give Marvel then a little leeway to be like, oh, we're not doing any of that now? I don't know. I mean, I think what Sony ultimately wants is the Spider Boys back, most of all, and they want the movie to make a ton of money, right? That's what they want most of all. They definitely need that after what they've had going on with these other films. So, Madam Web, the only shit not connected? I wouldn't know. I've never seen it. Someday I'll watch it, though. Someday. Okay. John says, Prime Video's secret level show is awesome. Warhammer episode was 10 of 10. The other best episode of the Armored Core and Pac-Man. So cool, man. Check it out. Yeah, I have checked it out, but I haven't watched anything other than the Warhammer one. I just watch it over and over again. Braden says, man, Roka doesn't have sources. Smack my fucking head. Yeah, I just disagree with you, brother. I just disagree with you. You know, I think he does. Logan says, George equals 6 good movies in 36 years, 1 good movie every 6 years. Disney equals 3 movies in 12 years, 1 good movie every 4 years. I'll accept the mid. I'm not quite following you there. There were too many numbers and equations, but I appreciate it. Anthony says, I was wrong about Warhammer. The lore is peak. You hear that? You hear that, boys and girls? Jennifer Armstrong, appreciate you with the 20 spot, says, I am super behind in the video, but I just want to send some moolah in support of the channel. Stay strong and fight the good fight. More Warhammer. Hoping you and the wife are getting some good rest with the baby. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Athena's like eating way more than you would think, especially for a little baby of her size. She's been giving some good stretches of sleep in between. Like, she's even given a 5-hour stretch, which is insane. But yeah, she's doing great. We're doing good. Kaylin says, what if Doom unleashes Maestro Hulk on New York City and the Spider Boys, Daredevil, and Punisher do a team up to defend New York? Totally possible, but the only issue I have with that is that Maestro Hulk is he kind of makes a name for himself for literally killing like all of the heroes and villains of like the Marvel universe. So there's different versions of him, like the Future Imperfect storyline, which I think was a Jim Starlin story, and the original one was like a time displacement thing. But even still, he like destroys most of the heroes. There are other versions of Maestro that literally rule the entire universe. That's where you get like the Champions version, the guy that has like the Surfer's board, the Cap Shield, Mjolnir. He's got like all these prizes from all the heroes. So it would depend on what version of the character they do, but like they don't stand a chance against Maestro Hulk, dude. Like that's the thing. They legitimately stand no chance. He's smarter, stronger, and darker than Hulk. Big Nemesis 777 says, was on Space Marine 2 last night. Oh, hell yeah, man. You have fun? Get some dubs? Scar dies fighting Maestro on Earth in Spider-Man 4? I mean, that would be sad. But if he doesn't get that haircut changed, maybe I'd be okay with it. Is Daredevil Born Again going to be Marvel Spotlight / rated M? Yeah, it's not only is it going to be rated mature, but it's going to have some of the bloodiest, darkest stuff we have ever seen in Marvel. And that's coming mostly from the Muse character. So, yeah. Steve McTee says, Maestro / Doom kills Scar, World War Hulk. Rumors are wild. Yeah, that could be true. That could be true, and that would be really wild, huh? That would be really wild. What is this? The new Superman looks like a CW show. Here's the link from Comics Things. I mean, I don't love the look of the Superman movie. I've been pretty consistent on that. We'll see. I don't know that everybody feels the same way I do. That trailer was obviously very popular, and I think people like the vibes. You know, I think the tone that Gunn is presenting is clearly resonating with people, but we'll have to see. I mean, you don't have to sell me on not liking the visuals. I already don't like the visuals. The Dark Act arc is peak and so bloody. There will be blood. There will be blood. I'm telling you. Is this how a cult feels? Yeah, join in, dude. It's super fun. Warhammer. 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 Yeah. I straight up laughed out loud with that Noel voice opening in that garbage movie. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was like, whoa, okay, they're really doing that. They're really going for it. Okay, shit. Okay, shit. Prediction. Maestro Hulk is married to Natasha Romanoff. Damn. That would be wild. What? Just hit Grandmaster before Rivals new season and the ranked reset. Josh, you will be on Rivals later? The new season? Yeah, I'll be on later, brother. Hit me up. You can carry me. F Warhammer, why are we not playing Rivals Season 1 right now? Because there's news. Because there was news to talk about. Hello? We got to talk about the nerdy news, don't you know? Don't you know what we do here? And maybe we'll play some Rivals later in the day. I got to get out of here. There's like stuff I got to handle, man. You know what I mean? There's stuff I got to handle. I got to handle business, as it were. But I will kick it with you guys for like 5-10 more minutes here. Any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? What else is going on? Punisher in an Iron Man mech suit? That would go hard. I am not going to lie. That would go pretty hard. Josh, will you and Rob do segments in 2025 on your live streams? I mean, maybe. We've talked a little bit about it. But I obviously just have a lot going on. So we'll see. Josh, did you see who they won for the Warhammer series? What do you mean by that? Josh has to get a haircut. I do. I do. Got to handle getting his haircut. Exactly. Exactamundo. When do I think Thor 5 will release? Well, there was a possibility that it was going to be a Battle World movie. I don't think so anymore. So it'll probably be phase 7. Like after the X-Men stuff starts. What's the last EDH deck you built? Still have Elminster? Yeah, dude, Elminster's sick. I think the last one I built was they did a new version of, I think his name is Thrawn the Shaman, the like tortoise looking shaman guy, or maybe it's Throg. I forget his name, but I made just basically green ramp beat stick with him. He is freaking awesome, dude. He is freaking awesome. That might have been the last one I made. I'm going to make a bunch of EDH deck once the Marvel stuff comes out. Once Marvel starts coming out with Magic the Gathering, dude, we're going to crack boxes. We're going to build decks. We're going to play Commander together. Oh, it's going to be so fun. You're going to have to plow tonight, man. Well, make sure you stretch. You know what I mean? You don't want to pull a hammy. Grow a mullet? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Free Yoda from the box? Yeah, I'll free him. I'll put some batteries in there. Why don't y'all just chill out? Holy. So what's your guess on what movies we will see between now and Secret Wars? People on Reddit believe David Benioff will be the showrunner after meeting with Amazon. I don't know about that shit, bro. Maybe. Send me a link. Is it just you on Reddit starting stuff and then getting me to give you karma? Seriously, though, the storyline where Punisher gets the War Machine armor story. Oh, yeah, that would be solid. That would be solid. Tee. Plowhammer. Yes. Which of the recent Marvel Secret Lair would you play? I think Iron Man is sick. Storm's crazy. I like Cap, but I don't know how strong he'll be. Because I play a lot of like Boros, and I have a bunch of equipment decks. Like, I love equipment, dude. And if you just build a cool Tron deck where you just load them up with equipment and then swang that thing. Oh, hell yeah. There's a couple pieces of equipment that literally half your opponent's life, and then there's ways to double it and shit. Oh, so fun. Joseph says, Cap is great, so is Sam, so is Black Panther. So the fights, the feel heavy, the tension, the love between everyone, the mutual respect, so does Gunn. Everyone else didn't write like that. We remain sweaty. Joseph, I appreciate it, brother. I am not sure what you're saying there. If somebody else, like, am I missing something here? Cap is great, so is Sam, so is Black Panther. So the fights that feel heavy, the tension and love between everyone and mutual respect, so does Gunn. Everyone else don't write like that. I'm not sure what you're saying. I'm not sure what you're saying, dude. Marvel's snap fall off needs to be studied. I mean, I haven't paid too much attention to it. I think a couple of things happened with Snap. I think Snap had an incredibly brilliant game design. Like, the basic game design is brilliant. I think the ranking ladder is terrible, and I think it's been terrible. I think the way you unlock cards is terrible. I think the monetization is terrible. And so I think those things just kind of fatigued a lot of players. Like, Snap is so fun when you're first starting out and you're building decks, you're unlocking new cards, and you're, building new decks and stuff like that. If you play a bunch of Snap and then you get to the point where, like, essentially every new card you have to, like, either pay outright or pay for the battle pass and grind to get, that's not a really fun gameplay loop. And I don't think the grind on Snap in ranked is that fun either. Mostly because the snapping mechanic itself makes it so most people will just bail. Like, they basically took, by allowing you to bluff and fold, they have turned that game a little bit more into like poker, in which if you're a good player, you're going to fold like 70% of your hands. So Snap has a lot of issues. I think Snap will probably be fine. I think it's still probably making decent money, and Maybe they'll revamp it or do some design things later on. But it really doesn't do it for me anymore, you know? Are they using Rivals to promote Doomsday since Doom is the main villain of the game? Well, I would say it's probably the case that when the team was coming up with concepts for Rivals, it's probably accurate to say that they were told by Marvel Studios or Marvel Entertainment that doing some multiversal stuff with Doom would create good brand synergy. So it's like not an accident that Doom played a huge role in comics last year. Doom took over the Marvel universe. There's a lot of Doom stuff happening. That's not an accident. I don't think it's an accident that Doom and the multiverse is a big part of Rivals, right? It's brand synergy. Now, does that mean that the things that happen in Rivals are going to give us the clues to Secret Wars? I don't think so. But it's more like you can kind of just see that like this Doom shift happened probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. Does that make sense? All right, everybody. We're going to get on out of here. If you missed some of the segments today, you can either watch this on the replay or I will be uploading the clips later tonight to the Clips channel. So look out for that, probably between 5 and 6. I might get on Rivals tonight and do a little grinding in the new ranked. And maybe we'll do that on stream. I'll let you know. Otherwise, there should be videos this weekend, but I do have to resolve the issues on the main channel before I can upload on that channel. So stay tuned to the Discord, the community tab on the live channel, or to my Twitter if you want to get the updates of when we resolve everything, okay? I appreciate y'all very, very much. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. I'll talk to you guys real soon, okay? So, as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, Joseph, I think I get what you're saying. I appreciate it, man. Much love. We may remain sweaty always, indeed. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man. Another happy landing. That was a fun one, man. Lots of info there. Lots of speculation. Appreciate you, Rossi. You play this beat on my drum set while listening? Oh, nice. Very cool. Very cool. Hey, thank you all so much for the love, the understanding. I think we'll be back to regular stuff next week. Yeah, and I apologize. There's not too much I can say about it. There's a couple of options on the table. I just don't want to get into the weeds with you guys. But I appreciate your concern, and I'm glad that you're like sort of dialed into what's going on. Because if things ever got really bad, I would be reliant on you guys to like rebuild and, you know, get everything back to where it was. And it's you know, they could take away a platform, they could take away a channel, they could take away a Twitter account, right? But they can't take away the community. They can't take away the connection that we've built over time, and that is beautiful. So even though things get crazy, I mean, look, I'm putting on a good face, but I just had a second kid. You know, this is terrifying, the timing of this. And this person, if they're doing what I think they're doing, is horrible. But I take heart, and Elisa takes heart in the fact that we have incredible people out there that are rooting for us, that will help us out if things get really bad, and we will be able to rebuild this. So I thank you. Means a lot. It has helped her have peace of mind. So you have done something beautiful just by being here. Thank you. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good rest of your day and have a good rest of your evening. Much love, Danny. Appreciate you. Your name is Nerd Ventures. Got it. Remember, open up your third eye. And watch out your stinky butt. Huh?